Hey guys, how are you doing? It's Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back another XRP Ripple video. Today, we're going to be deep diving into the Fed Now. There was a viral clip yesterday. The Fed Now have announced they're going to be going live in May to July of 23 with tests starting in mid-September. This led to a lot of hype in the XRP community. As you can see on my TikTok, I think this had, let's just have a little look how many I reposted on my TikTok. This specific clip had 56,000 views. We're going to be getting into these clips. There's 3 clips that I want to show you. Someone shared them on Twitter and I can't find his name right now, but I'll give him some credit at the end if I find it. And I just want to show all the links that I can find for the Fed Now and Ripple, say what I think is speculation, say what I think is fact, and we're going to just deep dive into it. There's a lot to get into here. You know me, guys, I try and show you all the facts, and then we come to some sort of speculation or thought process at the end, and that's what we'll try and do. It does look positive. I don't want to say it doesn't, but I'm completely here for fact. I don't try and speculate because speculation can take you down the wrong road. So we'll just get into the first few clips. I'm going to compare it to some Ripple videos, etc., and then we're going to look at the leadership team at Ripple, what's going on there, and some partners of Fed Now, how they're working with potentially the new payment system, etc. And yeah, that will be about it for today. So I'm just going to get into it without further ado because it is going to be a long video because we've got a lot to look into. Let's go.
Kicking off in mid-September, I want to particularly thank you, the early adopters, for the important investments you're making to prepare for the day when the Fed Now service goes live. Together, we'll be ready to launch the Fed Now service between May and July of 2023, bringing this innovative core instant payments infrastructure to financial institutions of every size across America. Service.
So that is obviously massively important, and one thing that I really did want to point out before we get any further is one thing this is really showing us is that the new financial system is coming. It's going to be here between May and July of 23. What we need to really recognize, no matter whether it's our crypto that's number one or whatever, we need to get way less tribal about it and realize as a collective, if our cryptocurrency stays around until then, if we can stay in the top 10, let's say you're an XRP holder, Algorand, XLM, even Ethereum, whatever you are, whatever you hold, like that's up to you. If you think that your crypto is going to be around by then and still stay around through regulation and everything, then your returns are going to be exponential on your money. Like, you're looking at 100x because this market cap is going to go absolutely incredibly off the Richter scale because all it is going to be starting to move value like these are explaining here for the whole world. Whatever crypto it is and whatever network that's based on, if your network still stays around and has a slice of the pie, whether it's a big slice or a small slice, you're going to see massive returns is basically my point. So let's have a look at the next little video.
The Fed Now service will transform the way everyday payments are made throughout the economy, bringing substantial gains to households and businesses through the ability to send instant payments at any time on any day with funds immediately available to recipients to make other payments or manage cash flow. Immediate availability of funds could be especially important for households managing their finances paycheck to paycheck or small businesses with cash flow constraints. Having the capacity to manage money in real time could help households avoid costly late fees or free up working capital for small businesses to finance growth. The Fed system for the future, the Federal Reserve has made a substantial commitment to the Fed Now platform, which has benefited from the technologies and approaches provided by global technology companies that are vital for today's always-on digital economy.
So what we're seeing is Fed Now's come in, obviously, like I've said a few times here, between May and July, I think it said. The financial future is here. They're looking for instant settlement and they're trying to free up working capital. Let's have a look at what the Fed Now service actually does. This is from Riz XRP.
In today's fast-paced world, time is money. More people, businesses, and organizations are demanding instant payments. That's why the Federal Reserve is developing the Fed Now service, a safe and efficient instant payments infrastructure that will modernize the U.S. payment system. The Fed Now service will give financial institutions the opportunity to innovate, enabling their customers to send and receive money in seconds, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Funds will settle between financial institutions in real time, which means there's no buildup of interbank obligations, and end users will have access to the funds in seconds. How will the FedNow service work? Imagine the owner of a coffee shop is running low on coffee beans and needs to schedule a quick delivery. She places an order, and the coffee bean company sends her a request for payment. She responds to the request for payment and pays for the coffee beans right then and there through an app from her credit union, which uses the FedNow service. Once she initiates the payment, her credit union screens the payment and sends an ISO 20022 compliant payment message, either directly or through a service provider to the FedNow service over the Federal Reserve's FedLine network. The FedNow service instantly validates the payment message and passes it along to the coffee bean supplier's bank. In real time, the supplier's bank confirms to the FedNow service that it intends to accept the payment, and the FedNow service debits and credits the master accounts of both the shop owners and the coffee bean supplier's financial institutions or the master accounts of their correspondents. The FedNow service also immediately sends a payment message with an advice of credit to the supplier's bank and notifies the shop owner's credit union that settlement is complete. Finally, the supplier's bank credits the supplier's account in near real time, making the funds available. The supplier's bank will have the option of sending a confirmation to the shop owner's credit union that the payment has been posted to the supplier's account, providing the coffee shop owner with certainty that the payment was received. The FedNow service will be designed to be flexible and support a broad range of potential use cases. Banks, credit unions, and other industry providers can use it as a springboard for innovation to support a range of applications such as account-to-account transfers and bill pay. For example, now imagine it's after hours.
So that's quite important. It's showing that the FedNow service is just going to be settling payments as well as instant messaging. And I'm just going to compare this to a RippleNet video, and then we're going to get into a few things about what I think some of the staff at Ripple as well, and some of the things that we can link into FedNow and what's actually going on here.
Network members process payments through real-time settlement with bidirectional messaging. With RippleNet, banks and payment providers can process payments more efficiently through the pre-validation of every transaction to eliminate failures and through rich data attachments for every payment. It also provides payment certainty through the pre-disclosure of information prior to settlement to eliminate failures, and through atomic settlement that provides pass-fail processing of.
I think that's pretty important. It's talking about the pre-disclosure of information, just how in the FedNow, where in the example that they gave, that the coffee shop owner sent a message to the Fed to basically send a message to the bank to say, look, they want to order some more. So before any transaction was made, they sent the message through to say, look, we want to make this transaction. They then confirmed, and then, as it says here, atomic settlement, the transaction was then settled. This is talking about RippleNet specifically, and not leveraging XRP. This is RippleNet, their technology. But yeah, let me just continue.
Across all intermediaries to avoid settlement-like risk. Network members can also source liquidity through access to an on-demand pool of liquidity through digital assets. RippleNet provides the ability to lower liquidity.
So this is the part where XRP would obviously come into it, and also it's built on the XRP ledger.
Liquidity costs by being able to source liquidity on demand and reduce the amount of nostros required to make global payments. For network users, again, these are corporates, SMEs, small banks, and other payment providers, RippleNet provides a standardized API-based interface to originate payments through their banking partner. They can access across networks globally. They can send payments on demand in real time. They can attach rich data, like invoices, to any payment. And they can gain complete visibility into payment status and delivery timing.
So they're the two things I really want to focus on, is that they have end-to-end visibility, and they can also attach things like invoices and credit and debit. That's extremely important, because it's pretty much what the FedNow service say. Doesn't mean that the FedNow service are definitely using RippleNet. It's just a really good comparison to use.
RippleNet is solving the inefficiencies of today's inefficient payments networks. It's standardized. The technology, APIs, rules, and governance are consistent across the network. It's fast. The technology provides real-time settlement and bidirectional messaging. It's certain. Atomic pass-fail processing eliminates payment failures. And it's low cost. High STP rates and flexible liquidity provisioning lowers processing costs. RippleNet is the first step towards bringing the Internet of Value to life through one frictionless experience to send money globally.
What is Ripple? How does it work?
Well, didn't mean to click on that, but let's keep going. So this is a nice graphic from Ant with a lot of digits after it, about how this system would work and how xCurrent works, which is obviously like RippleNet, not necessarily XRP. But it just shows you here with the bidirectional messaging between the originating, the correspondent, and the beneficiary bank. So the correspondent bank here would be like the FedNow service. The originating bank would be, in this example, the coffee shop owner, and the beneficiary bank would be the supplier. So they obviously send a message to the corresponding bank, they send it to the beneficiary, then they send back to say they accept it, and then the settlement's done in real time on the ledger below. So that's basically how it works. I just wanted to show you that in a nice visual, basically. And then now we're going to get into Ripple's team, their board of directors, and just we're going to get a bit more speculative now why they may or may not be working with the Fed. Whether RippleNet is going to be used for, or the XRP ledger specifically is going to be used for FedNow, we do not know. That is just complete speculation. We're guessing. We hope so, obviously, as XRP holders. But let's make some comparisons. And one thing that I really did say, so in my group chat last night with my friends IRL, obviously we're all into XRP because they kind of have to be, because I just blast them about it all the time. We talked about this, we got quite speculative, hoping that the XRP ledger is going to be used. And I said, let's be completely honest, in one way or another, whether XRPL is being used for the FedNow service or not, Ripple will have had some input in this. And they will be helping the Federal Reserve. I don't care who says that they won't be. They will be helping the Federal Reserve with this. They're one of the most, if not the most advanced technology company in the US in regards to Web3. They're completely US based. Yes, they're under a lawsuit with the SEC. Almost irrelevant in regards to the Fed. And have a look at what some of their staff have done and do in the past. And then try and argue against the point that I've just made. I think it's almost impossible to argue against the fact that they will at some point have had some input into this. Whether they're the complete service that the Fed are using, we don't know. We won't know for a while probably, because I even think even after the FedNow service is revealed, if it was on the XRP ledger, it probably would be on a private ledger. As we talked through the CBDC video yesterday, the central banks can then create like branches or offshoots that can also create assets and have their own little systems within the central bank, and that's what I think the FedNow service would be. So we would probably not even know for a while, like until they're ready to announce it. And I think if something like that were to happen, it would be the G7 who came out and announced it all together, because we know, I've got a bit of speculation at the end that can show you, not necessarily just the G7, but just some countries that use ODL and Ripple specifically. So let's just get into some of their staff. So we've got Susan Athey. She had a big... she advises governments and businesses on the design of auction-based marketplaces on the internet with virtual currencies, basically. So I thought that was really interesting. Obviously, a long-term economist and worked at Microsoft as well. So I thought that was interesting. So she advises governments on how to design auction-based marketplaces. We've then got, so obviously we know who Brad Gardenhouse, Chris Larson are. I'm just going to point out a few of the others. We've got Anja Manuel. She represented the US Congress, as well as the Department of Justice and the SEC. So that's pretty impressive, with the fact that they're in like the SEC lawsuit, working with the Department of Justice and being working with Congress. I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to say that Ripple are obviously in a lawsuit with the SEC. It's pretty good to have an ex-SEC, well, not necessarily employee, but someone who worked with them. Then we've got, I don't know how to say his name properly, Masahi Akiyama. He's basically he works for SBI. SBI are a big holder of Ripple, and he's a CEO of SBI Ripple Asia. So that's their like branches in the Asian region, like Japan, that sort of thing. So Craig Phillips, extremely important. He served as a counselor secretary to the Treasury with Steve Mnuchin, where he oversaw domestic finance. Now that is super important in my opinion. Domestic finance. So what is FedNow? It's domestic finance. Okay, he's had senior roles at BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, and Credit Suisse. But that's the thing that really plays into my, like, when I read that, I was like, okay. And he's pretty new. I think he came onto the board in 2020. So, he also supported a policy development for housing finance reform and efforts to enhance financial sector cybersecurity. So he's super involved with domestic finance in the US. Sandy O'Connor, this woman is extremely interesting. She did a lot of things. Let me just try and have a read through. She worked at JP Morgan, set the regulatory strategy and led engagement with G20 policymakers. There, she previously held senior positions, global treasurer, head of the prime services, and was member of the executive committee. She supported integrity and efficiency of capital markets as the chair of the Federal Reserve Board's Alternative Reference Rates Committee, and as a former member of the Treasury Markets Practices Group sponsored by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. She's now on the Task Force of Stability and the FDIC Systemic Resolution Advisory Committee. So that's where, if the US thinks it's systemically important, it means that it's essential for the future of their economy. So she advises them. She's a director of the Bank of New York Mellon Corporation and Terex Finance. She's been champion of diversity and inclusion. An American banker named her one of the most powerful women in banking. And we're going to talk about something that she created. She created the SOFR rate and LIBOR. These are huge in the world of banking. So this woman is obviously at Ripple. Let's have a little read through what she said. Earlier this year, O'Connor was unanimously elected the chairman of Alternative Reference Rate Committee. The Fed panel, so we're talking about Federal Reserve again, which selected SOFR last summer, was reconvened by the central bank with the goal of helping banks navigate complicated logistics involved in moving to a new reference rate. It's a big job, major implications for the financial market. It's also one of O'Connor's jobs at JP Morgan, the nation's biggest bank by assets. In addition to working the transition to the new reference rate, O'Connor regularly meets with policymakers both in the US and across the globe on matters ranging from cybersecurity to fintech regulation. She is a point person for JP Morgan, for instance, in the discussions with policymakers on implementation of Basel, which is Basel III is the new banking rates that we use, and the president's executive orders on regulatory reform, among other matters. Throughout it all, O'Connor has nevertheless carved out over the past year to make good on her personal goals of the year, getting more sleep. After getting just a handful of hours of sleep for decades, O'Connor committed this year to constantly being a night full of rest. She said she's been succeeding and it feels great. Essentially, she's created a completely new banking system that was the London Interbank Offered Rate and then is now the SOFR, which I don't know what it stands for. I can't see it right now. But essentially, she created a new banking system completely for not just the US, but I think it's the G7 or G20. And then we've got Rosie Rios. She's often talked about with Ripple specifically. She's got 30 years of experience in public policy and investment management. She served as the 43rd Treasurer of the United States, CEO of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, and the Mint. She led efforts to place female portrait in the US currency for the first time in over a century. After she resigned in 2016, she received the Hamilton Award, the highest honor bestowed to the US Department of Treasury. Rios was the longest serving Senate confirmed Treasury official, starting from the Federal Reserve Transition Team. Federal Reserve Transition Team, guys, in November 2008 at the height of the financial crisis. She was appointed as visiting scholar at the Radcliffe Institute for Advanced Study at Harvard University with a focus on millennials and post-millennials. She's now CEO of Red River Associates, real estate investment management consulting firm, and serves on the board of American Family Insurance and Fidelity Charitable Trust. She is extremely influential in the world of finance in the US. Imagine having the 43rd Treasurer of the US who also received the Hamilton Award on your board. And finally, we've got Michael Warren, who has 20 years of experience with clients in international growth strategies, his stakeholder and management issues, economic and geopolitical issues affecting global markets. Warren served in the administration for 2 presidents. Warren served senior advisor of the White House Presidential Personal Office during Obama's first term. In 2010, Obama appointed Warren at the board of directors to oversee Private Investment Corporation, where he now serves on the audit committee. During the Clinton administration, he was executive director of the National Economic Council and served in the office of secretary for the US Department of Labor. So we've got some big blooming names in there. So that's on the Ripple side of the board, like of the aisle. And then on the Fed side, as we know, we've got ex-Ripple board member Michael Barr confirmed as top US financial watchdog. The Senate approved Barr, ex-Ripple advisor, who served in Obama's Treasury Department, as the Fed's new vice chairman for supervision. You can read these articles if you want. I'm going to try and keep this kind of short. But so we've got Michael Barr as the vice chair for supervision at the Fed, ex-Ripple advisor. So this is the Federal Reserve official FedNow website showing who's participating in their new pilot program, as they talked about. We've got 2 Ripple partners in there. The first one I want to touch on is ACI Worldwide Corp. And the second one is Volante Technology. Here. So ACI Worldwide Corp are Ripple partners. This is another thing to take into consideration. The 3 countries I keep saying to watch, guys, are the UK, India, and Brazil. And look here, Ripple partner ACI Worldwide is helping State Bank of India modernize its payment system and process payments in cryptocurrencies. I don't know too much about ACI particularly. I'm just pointing it out that they're a member of the pilot program for FedNow. And the other one, who we're going to talk about, is Volante. Volante partnered a long while ago. I think it was in 2016. Let's have a look. 2016. What have we got? Federal Reserve Payments Pilot incorporates Ripple partner Volante. So that's obviously pretty cool. They're looking for... The pilot would include 110 organizations. This is what I wanted to talk about. This is what Neil Clark, who is Market Engagement Director at Volante, said in 2016. Ripple continues to gain traction in the payments world, and banks are looking for solutions to quickly and easily integrate to this new distributed ledger multi-currency based settlement solution. Volante's market-leading integration technology is ideally suited to meet the challenge of integrating a bank's payment system with Ripple's network. Our aim has been to make integration with Ripple a plug-and-play process. This is what I've been saying to you guys for a long time. This is from 2016. Ripple are creating a network that is providing payments from one institution to another or one country to another, and people want to plug into it like Volante. There's a little, just a clip off Volante's website. I just wanted to show you some of their partners. BNY Mellon, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, Finbank, etc., etc. This is a speculation from, again, Riz XRP of how Volante could work with FedNow and the Ripple payment flow service. This is a little graphic at the bottom here with FedNow, how it works with the sender and the receiver. We talked about this at the start with the intermediary banks, etc. And this is how it would potentially settle with FX and Ripple specifically. So you can have a little look, give this a pause if you want to read through that. And then just to finish, I know there's loads going on right now and I've talked about a lot. There's a cool little tweet here from T-Hole Benedict XRP. Funny coincidence, last week the EU, US, Canada, Philippines, South Africa, Brazil, Colombia, New Zealand and the UN have all moved to harmonise crypto with banking. Which countries use ODL, have Ripple offices, or use XRPL for land registry? Can't remember. #Ripple, #XRP. So we've got South Africa. We know we work with Ripple. Looking for FIs, financial institutions, to serve crypto accounts. The ECB with harmonised regulatory and government and governing crypto activities and services. Talked about this in our weekly roundup. Ripple and Brazil, that's obviously with Travelex. We talked about that as well. And the Fed, we talked about this as well, with them basically opening their master accounts to crypto banking associations or crypto banks, etc. And a few more down here. So this leaves us with what next, guys? To speculate, do we think it's going to be on the XRPL? If I was going to have a guess, I would say at some point it's going to be involved. Whether it's built on there, I don't know. I wouldn't want to speculate on that. But it looks to be in a good position. Without a doubt, they will have had some input. That's Ripple, at least on a consulting level with the Fed. And anyone who's done that, it's like scratch your back and we'll scratch our back and we'll scratch yours sort of thing. So I'm sure there's deals being done that we don't know about, but we can only show what we can prove, and we can't prove that anything's on the XRP ledger. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I wouldn't be surprised if Ripple are involved somehow. they seem to be paving an awesome path for a financial future with inclusion, cross-border payments, and it makes sense for a Web3 / cryptocurrency settlement company whose adverts for their technology literally look exactly the same as the Fed now to be involved in a big way, or at least in some way. I'd love to know what you guys think though. Please let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and share this video if you enjoyed it. Also, go and check out our weekly newsletter. We talk about all this sort of stuff. I'm just going to leave this video there. So peace up, A-Town down, as Usher would say. Thanks for tuning in.